Let's hear from those coaches and discuss some of what they had to say. As you would expect, Bryan Harsin was questioned once again about the offseason that was, about the investigation, the inquiry, the inquisition into him as the head football coach. And honestly, he had some pretty strong words to say about it.
There was an inquiry. It was uncomfortable. It was unfounded. And it presented an opportunity for people to, personally attack me, my family, and also our program. And it didn't work. So right now, our focus is on moving forward. And what came out of that inquiry were a lot of positive. There was a silver lining in all of this, because what I saw from our players and our coaches was leadership opportunities for them to step up, which is exactly what they did. And you got a chance to see guys provide leadership. You got a chance to see coaches provide leadership. And what it did was united our football team. It united our players, united our staff, and united our football team. And so I'm really proud of our guys, and I'm proud of what something like that, that can be very challenging and difficult for a lot of people, how our guys stepped up and handled it. And we had coaches and players that could have went on and went to different places, avoided all the adversity and the challenges and everything that came with it. They didn't do that. They're here, they're working extremely hard, and they're doing a fantastic job, in my opinion, to get themselves ready to go for this season. So
that was Bryan Harsin. Uncomfortable and unfounded. It gave people an opportunity to attack me, my family, and our program, and it didn't work. Strong from Bryan Harsin.
I loved that. I mean, money talks, and he does have an SEC job after all. I would have a really hard time standing up there representing Auburn after Auburn tried to do to him what they tried to do to him. I mean, it's still crazy to think about how that happened. And it's so normal because it's Auburn, right? Well, Auburn's nuts. They have this toxic booster culture and all this. But you had people that tried to pin an affair on the man just to fire him because they didn't think he was going to win enough football games. That happened.
Auburn's biggest donor, Jimmy Rain, tried to get Bryan Harsin run out of town.
By any means necessary.
He wanted Kevin Steele to be the head coach. Kevin Steele didn't get the job. Alan Green, the athletics director, pulled a little bit of a power play in the search. He went and hired who he wanted to hire. Bryan Harsin was who he wanted to hire. And now, not only do you have Bryan Harsin's tenure hanging in the balance, but you probably got Kevin Green or Alan Green's tenure as the AD hanging in the balance as well. Those two guys need each other. Alan Green needs Bryan Harsin to win, and Bryan Harsin needs Alan Green to have his back. And I don't necessarily think that Alan Green didn't have his back during that time, but Alan Green didn't have the ability to tell Auburn's biggest boosters and its president to screw off, kind of like Bryan Harsin did. He just didn't. You have to work with those people when you're the AD. And so it certainly puts strain on that relationship. Here's the hard thing. Bryan Harsin and Auburn need to win. That's the only way he's going to shut people up. They got a hard schedule. They got Penn State in the non-conference. They play in the SEC West. They've got Georgia from the East and Missouri from the East. The Georgia game's on the road. They got to go to Tuscaloosa. That doesn't go well. They do have Texas A&M at home. Pretty good home schedule this year for Auburn.
5 in a row to start.
Zach Calzada or TJ Finley? Not good at wide receiver. They got a really good tight end in John Samuel Schenker. They're going to be okay on the offensive line. They've got a really good defensive line. And they're pretty good in the special teams. That's your Auburn team.
I mean, when you say Calzada or Finley, what's the difference? What's the difference in these two guys? Neither one of them are going to be capable of leading an Auburn team to the kind of season that Auburn fans want. a 9+ win season. They don't have it in them. They're not talented enough.
Here's my question. If you're Bryan Harsin, let's say you do pull off a 9 or 10 win season. Are you thankful that now you've kind of gotten the vultures that were circling to scatter? Or do you say, sweet, I just won 10 games at a place where it's hard to win 10 games with the world crashing in around me? I don't care what the job is, I want it. And I'm marketable. Agent, get me out now. Or does he say, we get this thing moving in the right direction, it's time to go to work? I don't know.
It's hard to be a football coach and pass up an SEC job that you can actually, if things aren't insane, win championships at. But I would be. I mean, what gets him fired, though? And the thing is, the next layer to this is, let's say for a second they find a way to 8-4. They beat Penn State with their bad offense at home, which is certainly in the realm of possibility. And, they sneak out, they beat Missouri, so they get to 5. Maybe they get Ole Miss or Mississippi State somewhere, and they find a way to get to 8, just for fun. Do they still fire him? Because that's 2 straight bowl games, that's progression, that's battling an offseason from hell. And
I don't know.
But so if they improve at all, let's say they improve by 1 game. If they go 7-5, but there's improvement and they fire him, it's an SEC West job that you can win championships at. But if you're an established coach, do you want that? That's why when I kind of rolled my eyes when Bruce Feldman did the whole, here's who's going to be the next Auburn head coach and named Lane Kiffin. I thought, maybe he would take it. Maybe he would be interested, as some people have said. But if I'm him and I see what they did to Bryan Harsin, I'm not touching that. If I'm an established coach at a Power 5 school, most Power 5 schools, I'm not touching that. If they fire him after a season that ends with a bowl game and a winning record, I'm not touching that job.
Mm.